Good morning, dear hearts. We are on lesson 319. Please subscribe. Just a side note, one more lesson tomorrow and we have completed what is the last judgment, and we go on to our next relevant special thought, what is creation. Today's lesson, like many of the other lessons that we have had in part 1 and 2 of the workbook, settle again, because we tend in this world to go forward and then maybe take a step back and then doubt something that we think we have learned. So that's one of the reasons that this course is repetitive. And today's repetitive lesson, said in a different way, but the message is true. I came for the salvation of the world. We have in other lessons been told, I have a function. God would have me fill. I am the light of the world. Forgiveness is my function as the light of the world. And today I came for the salvation of the world. We all are here for that reason, because the world is only, as I've said very frequently lately, the world is really only for the healing of the Son of God, the child of God. That's all we are here to do. We're here to remember God. We're here to lift up all the veils of separation. We're here to remember who we really are. So the lesson begins, I came for the salvation of the world. Here is the thought from which all arrogance has been removed and only truth remains. Arrogance is always of the ego. We've learned that many times. And to think that I cannot fulfill the job that God has appointed to me, appointed, just as in our lesson the other day, I follow in the way appointed me. I was given this. This task is mine to fulfill. The arrogance will tell me, because the ego will tell me, well, you can't possibly do that. You're not qualified for that. But the grandeur of my Father will tell me, of course you can do this, because I have given this to you. And I have total faith and trust in you. As, again, going back, and I did it yesterday as well, I believe, the final paragraph in what is the last judgment. In God's final judgment, you are still my holy child, my holy son, forever innocent, forever loving, and forever loved, as limitless as your creator, and completely changeless and forever pure. Therefore, awaken and return to me. I am your Father, and you are my son. You are my child. God would not give us a course that could not be accomplished. God would not give us a job, a task, appoint us to something that we could not fulfill. So, I came for the salvation of the world. Here is the thought from which all arrogance has been removed, and only truth remains. And the truth is, we are able to accomplish this. Now, just for the moment, to go into chapter 9 about the difference between grandeur of God, or grandiosity, which is of the ego, along with arrogance. It's easy to distinguish grandeur from grandiosity, because love is returned and pride is not. And you are altogether irreplaceable in the mind of God. No one else can fill your part in it, and while you leave your part of it empty, your eternal place merely waits for your return. God, through his voice, reminds you of it, and God himself keeps your extensions safe within it. We are able to do this. We have been given this, and we will accomplish it. It is meant to be accomplished. In fact, it already has been. For arrogance opposes truth. Now, I'm going to do something I've done before. Of course, change words. I'm going to substitute the word ego for the word arrogance. For ego opposes truth. But when there is no ego, the truth will come immediately and fill up the space the ego left unoccupied by lies. The ego is always lying to us. When we remove the ego from our mind, we let it go, we don't kill it off, we simply stop paying attention to it, and now there is a pristine, clean spot that can now be filled with love and the truth because the ego has left this space that it used to have all of its lies occupying. Only the ego can be limited, and therefore the ego, must seek for aims which are curtailed and limiting. The ego thinks that what one gains, totality must lose. Again, this is the difference in the giving and the receiving, and how it is thought of in this world by the ego mind, and how it is in truth. The ego is always working from a limited mind space. So if you gain, I must lose. If I gain, you must lose. There's only a certain amount of whatever the commodity is to go around. The ego, and I've said this in last year's lesson, the ego is the one that goes into the movie theater, and even though there might be many seats left, the ego sits there, the ego mind sits down, and when someone comes up, no, that seat is saved, that seat is saved, that seat is saved, waiting for their friends to show, and believing that there will not be enough seats to go around. There is a limitation on everything from the ego mind. The ego thinks that what one gains, totality must lose. But this is, and I've said it before, you've heard me say it, maybe it's a Janetism, the totality of reality. Reality is filled and is total, and there is never a lack of any kind. Love is part of the totality of reality, and as is peace, as is truth, and it is always expanding. It is always recreating itself on impact. There will always not only be enough, there will be more than enough, and it will continue on that way. There will always be whatever is required. It will be given us the moment there is a need. And yet it is the will of God, I learned, that what one gains is given unto all, the totality of reality. Whenever I receive, so does everyone else. Whenever you receive, I do as well. Again, it's sort of like that pebble in the pond. We throw it in and we don't know where those ripples go, but those ripples touch every single mind that is looking to have what we have offered. The second part of the lesson is in prayer. Father, your will is total. God's will for us is total. God's will is for his son's mind to recognize that it is healed, and there is nothing lacking in what our Father wants and chooses for us to have, desires for us to have. God's will for us is perfect peace and happiness, and the goal which stems from it shares its totality. It's for everyone, all of the sonship. What aim but the salvation of the world could you have given me? The salvation of the world, that we all will heal and heal together. And what but this could be the will myself, my big S self, my true self has shared with you. We share in what our Father wills for us, and we share in it with all of the rest of the sonship, all of our brothers, all of our sisters, all living things. To go just for the moment to complete in lesson 192, I have a function God would have me fill. And here it's, speaking of forgiveness is our function, and forgiveness and salvation indeed are one. And in the final paragraph, it says, be merciful today. The Son of God deserves your mercy. It is he who asks that you accept the way to freedom now. Deny him not. His Father's love for him belongs to you. Your function here on earth is only to forgive him, that you may accept him back as your identity. He is as God created him, and you are what he is. Forgive him now his sins, and you will see that you are one with him. I came for the salvation of the world, for the entire world, leaving out no one. All are included. All of us join hands, go home together, happily, joyfully, singing together, holding hands, Happiness is all there is. Remember, God's world is happy. And that's it for today. I hope it helped. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please comment. Please smile. Please take in a few deep breaths. Please check out my blog post. And please be here tomorrow to complete this section. Namaste.